Changing lives, one woman and one child at a time. Up next on the Giblin Report. Welcome to the Giblin Report. I'm Assemblyman Tom Giblin, representing the 34th Legislative District, which includes Clifton, East Orange, Montclair, and Orange. On today's show, I'm pleased to welcome Jennifer Brady, Executive Director of the Oasis, a haven for women and children. Welcome, Jennifer Brady, to the Giblin Report.
Thank you very much.
You've been involved quite a long time, Jennifer. Maybe tell us, your early days. What prompted you to take an interest in the Haven?
Sure. So my background has always been in nonprofit work. I've been involved in fundraising for 33 years. But Patterson is a community that's very close to my hometown, and there's such dramatic need there. And I was asked to join the board in 2005 and never looked back after that. While I have worked in many nonprofit organizations in New York and New Jersey, about 6 years ago, I was called to the position of executive director, and it's been a true honor and a blessing to lead this organization through a very challenging time.
If you could give us a little bit of a synopsis about what Oasis is all about, and I know it has its operation in Patterson. If you want to give us a specific address, you go ahead and do that. Take some liberty.
Sure. Patterson is not far. It's in Passaic County. Our address there is 59 Mill Street. We're in the heart of the historic district in Patterson. And the mission of Oasis is to help women and children living in poverty create a pathway to a better life. We do that primarily through educational programs. So an adult woman can come to us and get her high school equivalency degree, take ESL classes to learn English, become a U.S. citizen. We have a citizenship program, and prepare for the job place. But we provide all the holistic services that a woman might need to address those challenges in her life if you're living in poverty. And then for children, we have a really vibrant after-school academy that's infused with Patterson Public School teachers, a teen program, and a really fantastic summer camp.
Where does the bulk of the money come from by sources? Does it come from the Patterson Board of Education or the City of Patterson or United Way type organizations, or do you rely on private donations? How do you get the money to make the engine work?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's private donations. So we're 96% privately funded. And that funding comes from fundraisers, although we're clearly not having many of those during the pandemic.
Like dinner dances or cocktail parties? Or?
There's four main ones. Our gala raised $1 million in 2019.
$1 million?
Our last gala. Yeah. It was.
Where did you have that at?
Fabulous. At the Venetian in Garfield.
That's quite a bit of money.
It made a big impact. Yeah.
Yes.
We also have a golf outing, a fabulous Oktoberfest, and a shooting clays event, and then lots of smaller events as well.
So they've probably been limited because of the last year with COVID, right?
Yeah, only the outdoor events like the golf outing and the shooting clays, and we've just postponed our gala again for the third time.
That's a tough hit.
It's a really tough hit, yeah.
And what are you relying on? Just solicitation by mail with donations or something like that?
Yeah, it's interesting. We used to do like lots of donor dinners and cocktail parties and lunches and meetings, right? But now everything is by Zoom. So we've done a myriad of mailings, newsletters, appeals, but we are having regular Zoom meetings with our donors as well and potential donors. So we've adapted.
One of the things, in reading up a little bit about Oasis, you're involved with a capital campaign. It's probably the worst time you could be doing something like this. So, what are you going to get, a printing press or what? Make some dollars?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago we started an expansion project because we were turning away so many women and children because we just didn't have room, whether it's in our child care facility so moms can take classes or in the classes themselves. And certainly we knew that we could double enrollment in our after-school program overnight if we had the space. So we launched a capital campaign about a year prior to COVID. It's a $6 million campaign for both expansion and
You don't do anything small, I can see.
yeah, we try not to.
Okay.
There's a big need, so we need to have a big response, right? So the $6 million campaign, we were at about $3 million when COVID hit. And we suspended everything for several months until about May or June. And then we said, you know, there's nobody in this building. This would be the perfect time to be under construction, right? Because construction is disruptive to the program. So we relaunched our campaign in June. And again, it's been a lot of Zoom meetings. And just last week, we hit $5 million out of the 6. So we're under construction.
You're doing well, to put it mildly.
That last million will be a tough one to
I
get.
know, but still $5 million at this stage in the pandemic is, don't you know, it's quite an accomplishment. I noticed you talk about women, no men at this site.
We do serve men in the evenings and Saturdays through our ESL and our GED program.
That would all, are the women residents of the facility?
No, we do everything but housing. Everything you need to rise out of poverty, we will provide to you, except housing. And we rely on partner agencies for that piece of it.
To situate the clients, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, we work with many partners
What
in
would that be,
Patterson.
like at the Housing Authority in Patterson, or?
The Housing Authority, Eva's Village, NJCDC, our
Well,
partners
Eva's
who do
Village
have
had a
housing.
lot of damage not too long ago, right? Didn't they have a major fire there, or am I mistaken?
That was Catholic Charities, Father English, yeah, had a major fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible, and they've begun to recover as well. But of course, all of us in the nonprofit sector are challenged with our fundraising during COVID.
Well, is there a certain criteria, whether it's a man or a woman, that comes to Oasis? I mean, are they, I assume, below the poverty level, correct? I mean, did they have to go through an application process? Are they physically evaluated? Are they, you know, what kind of determination do you use to
Yep.
make
so
sure that you can help them?
Yeah, we do two things. When someone comes to us and they're enrolling in a class, the first thing we do is a registration. Our eligibility criteria is a client needs to be food stamp eligible. So, you know, that's quite low, right? But 30% of Patterson residents are living in poverty.
So that's already done before they come to your door.
Yeah,
They can demonstrate that.
they show us their food stamp card or proof of income. They don't have to be on food stamps necessarily, but most of them are. Once someone's enrolled in our programs, we do a health and wellness assessment with our social workers so that we can determine what other obstacles are they facing that will prevent them from succeeding in our programs.
It would seem to me, with all the crazy things have gone in the recent years, your numbers must be on the rise. I would just, maybe I'm, you know, looking at that too easily, but I would just think they've.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you handle that? I mean, you know.
Well, the capital campaign will help us.
Well, I know, but I mean, in the interim, I mean, you know, maybe you could demonstrate, you know, just ballpark numbers. I mean, how much do you think your clients, you know, the numbers have gone up? 10%, 20%? I mean, is it something that's really, you know, staggering?
Yeah, so prior to COVID, we were serving about 1,000 women and children a day. And those are folks who might be registered for our classes, but it's also people who are coming to our soup kitchen for breakfast or lunch, or someone who's just coming to get help, like diapers or formula for their babies, or just to sit with a social worker for a little while. So we averaged about 1,000 women and children a day.
That's a lot of people. I
It's a
mean,
lot of people, yeah.
And you have the facilities to kind of deal with that?
Well, we didn't, and that's why we're under in the expansion project right now.
You're doing for food, you know, like what do you give them, soup or sandwich or?
Yeah, so prior to the pandemic, we were
Some
doing
cereal, things
2
like-
hot breakfasts every day, and a hot lunch every day, and a hot meal for the kids in the after-school programs every day. Now, of course, that's all grab and go. So the face of what we're doing during this pandemic has changed quite a bit.
Are you the largest in Patterson or Passaic County, or is there Eva's Village a little bit higher? I know Eva's Village is, you know, substantial with, you know, the numbers.
Yeah, EVAs serves a slightly different population. They're focused more on housing and addiction recovery, where we are more an educational facility. But EVAs is quite a bit larger than we are.
Well, if people go through the process of getting a GED, is the eventual idea to see if you can get them a job or get them back on their feet, where they have their own independence in terms of paying for their daily expenses? Is that the ultimate objective?
Yeah, absolutely. A woman who would get her GED with us would then hopefully go on to one of our workplace readiness training programs. Some of those are computer-based, some are not. And we do have a family navigator job specialist, and her entire job is to help you find a job that will not just be a stopgap measure, but hopefully a pathway to a career that will bring you to a place of choice where you can make choices about your career, where your child goes to school, where you live.
And how are you doing with that? I mean, it seems to me, trying to find jobs for folks today is challenging as it's ever been.
Yeah, it's very challenging.
I mean, you work in tandem, I assume. I think the county, Passaic County, has a program like that as far as job readiness is concerned, I believe.
Yes, and they've got the one-stop center, and we work with all these agencies as well.
Getting back to the whole issue of fundraising, where's your potential sources? Are you trying to get some of our corporate friends to weigh in, or are you trying to see if the state or the federal government might have a grant or something like that to help you with that, or you'll need a lot of dinners and golf outings to get to your particular goal, I would think.
Yeah, we've got a quite dedicated fundraising team of 4 people on the fundraising team. And so we're constantly doing outreach to corporations, foundations. We have received a couple of state grants over the last several years that have helped us substantially, including a full-service community school grant through the Department of Education on the federal level that the district has gotten. So now we're actually embedded in one of the public schools in Paterson, which creates greater outreach opportunities for us to reach more families and let them know about not just our services, but all the services in Paterson and Passaic County that might be available to them.
Where did you work as far as development is concerned, prior to Oasis?
Yeah, I started my career at the Museum of Television and Radio in New York City. My first job was a $50 million capital campaign. That's
But
now
somehow
called,
I think this Oasis is a little bit more challenging. That's only my instinct.
it's a little bit more grassroots, yeah. And then I worked for a hunger relief organization up in Rockland County, New York. And then I've landed at Oasis. So I haven't had a lot of movement in the nonprofit sector, but this is always, I joined the board quite early on in the development of Oasis, and it's always been the place where my heart has been. And I think, it's because the dedication of our staff, of our donors and our stakeholders to not just providing services to this community, but really surrounding them with the love and support that they need.
You have a board of trustees, I assume, for the agency. Any names jump out that we should be aware of?
Yeah, sure. So we've got Paul Underdunk with SIG. We've got Janie Haggerty with Health and Wellness Partners, Rich Taylor of Rapid Pump and Meter. We have a 19-member board of trustees. We just added our first Paterson resident to the board, Victor Hernandez from M&T Bank. So it's a diverse group.
And what about the cooperation of the municipal government in the Paterson with Mayor Saya? I mean, you probably need to call upon them for different types of issues that crop up.
Yeah, we've got quite a good relationship with Mayor Saya and the administration there. In fact, the business administrator, former chief of staff for Mayor Saya, was our development director at Oasis.
Okay, so there's a tie there. He appreciates the work you're doing.
He certainly does. He's very supportive. He comes down, prior to COVID, he would come to all of our events and talk to our women who loved having, to know that the mayor cared about the work that we were doing and about their futures is very meaningful to our population, to the women and children. And he's always been very generous with his time with us.
So what's your sense? I know everybody has their own opinion, but are we turning the corner a little bit? With the increase in vaccinations and things like that. The numbers, my sense is they seem to be improving a little bit, so we can't afford to get too cocky or think it's over. But what's from where you're perched, what do you think?
Yeah, cautiously optimistic. I'm very hopeful. The Patterson Public Schools have never reopened since March 17th last year. The children haven't spent any time in the classroom. And for our children, they don't have their own bedrooms and their own computers and their
Do
own.
any of those children interact with some of the work you're doing at Oasis? So,
Absolutely, yeah. Hundreds of them do. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to bring our kids back for the summer programs, and we're hopeful that we'll be back in full operation by September.
Well, do you do like tutor programs? In other words, there's a lot of sentiment that the kids that have been out of school or even doing virtual, somehow they're losing out. And in fact, there potential now for a commission to evaluate that, to see what it means for the long haul, or if there's anything current that could be done to, help them, deal with this matter.
Yeah. We're doing a couple of things right now. We're still having our after-school program, albeit virtually, and so they're on with their teachers every day from 3 to 6.
And is that done at your site?
It's done virtually from our site, or some of our teachers are working remotely as well. It's a mix. We are doing some tutoring on Saturdays, especially for our teens, and that's actually being done on site where our teen population is coming in and being paired with tutors. But one of the critical things that we're doing is our social workers are working with those children, both one-on-one and in pop-ins in their virtual classrooms, so that they can assess what's going on in the home. A lot of our kids are, suffering from depression, like children all over the world are.
That's a big challenge to hear. I mean, with a whole gamut of even teenage suicides, it's no joke. I mean, it's something that's something people got to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you get involved with issues of alcoholism and drug treatment, things like that? I mean, is that not in your scope?
It's not really our scope. We certainly come across it, and that's where we do call on our collaborative partners. So our social workers work super closely with
Like Straight and
EVAs
Narrow?
and Straight and Narrow,
Okay.
yeah. And we will help a woman or a man or a child get any help that they need, but we try to stay in our lane and not duplicate services any more than we need to.
It sounds to me like you're one busy woman. You've got all kinds of issues that are on your plate, raising money, dealing with increased number of clients, trying to do a food program, doing the after-school program. I mean, is there enough hours in a day for a person like you? I mean, it just seems to me and
I'm not bored.
and you've been doing this for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I'm not bored.
You're not getting burnt out or anything like that, I hope.
I've got fabulous staff. We have fabulous staff at our organization and great supporters and a great board of directors. And all yesterday, it was a beautiful day in New Jersey, and I went outside to the line of women who were waiting to get their grab-and-go meals. And it's just such a great sense of community. And Patterson is such a beautiful city, and there's such beautiful diversity there, that when we can get back in the classrooms and have that interaction with the women again, that that really fuels us.
What's the best way, if people are looking at today's program, to get in touch with the organization? Just show up? Is there a phone call? Can you observe it on a website about some of the initiatives you're sponsoring or dealing with? Or all of the above?
Yeah, all of the above. But the website is a great resource. We've got some great videos on there. All of our contact information is on there. We've got someone who handles all our volunteer coordinator if someone wants to volunteer. Letitia Caroli is our director of development, so if someone wants to help support our work financially, and of course I'm quite available as well.
So I mean, any fundraisers down the road, or you got them on hold, or you're doing them outside, or golf outing? I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's when?
We've got our golf outing on June 9th,
and where's that
that's at Montclair Country Club this year.
Okay, nice spot.
Yeah, it's a great spot. So we're really looking forward to that. And we were able to have one last year, and it was great to be outside and see some of our supporters and be able to tell our story and share everything that we've been doing during this pandemic.
So when you went to school, you went to college,
I went to Rutgers, yeah,
Newark or New Brunswick?
New Brunswick.
So did you plan on a career like this? I mean, you got the kind of the worst or challenging set of circumstances that you could anticipate. So you know, it's
Yeah,
you,
I
hope
did.
the lessons you dealt with that they've been put to positive use.
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to be in the nonprofit sector, and I kind of found my way to Oasis. But when you know you're helping people, and when people know that they're supported, and I think something that we see quite often is a lot of the women who come to us have no support network, and it's scary even if you do have a support network right
What
now,
is it? They're
right?
single or divorced or widowed?
Single, immigrants,
Yeah.
we have a huge immigrant population in Paterson, and women who've come here and don't have family, right? Don't have friends that they can rely on to watch their kids or help them. But no matter how a woman finds her way to Oasis, when she comes into our building and she feels that level of support and I will say love, right? That we're really invested in each of these families and we want to see them succeed. And when somebody passes their GED, the hoops and hollers through the hallway or throughout the building, it forms a sense of community for them that they haven't had anywhere else. And it really, it buoys us.
Well, it seems like there's a whole network of encouragement, and even when they aspire for a GED, it sounds to me like you try to stay in touch with them to kind of
Totally.
take them to the next step.
Yeah, yeah. We don't just talk about it. We really live it.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd want to send out to our viewers about the work you do with Oasis, or things they should be looking on in their midst about neighbors, friends, people that sometimes are reluctant to ask for help or but need it?
Yeah. I mean, we are a welcoming place, and every woman and child who comes to us is welcome to come and explore our services, find out how we can help them. We're there to serve, and we do it with a lot of heart.
Yeah. And with the stimulus package that was recently signed by the president, is there any silver lining in there? Or I know it looks to me like the state government and even Passaic County might be getting some resources. Are you thinking about making a push or a request to try to ask people are from the school? If you don't ask, you don't get, that kind of thing. So it's you have advocates trying to seek out support.
We could use all the support that we can get, absolutely. So we will be exploring any of those avenues that are available to us.
Yeah. Has I've been able to get the governor. He's always pretty sympathetic to a lot of causes and institutions like Oasis. Have you ever been having at your site to see firsthand about what you're doing?
Yeah. Tammy Murphy came, and she helped actually serve lunch during the height of the pandemic when we had gone from serving about 150 meals to 1,900 meals a day. She came.
That was the jump in one swoop?
That was the jump for kind of that height of the pandemic, March, April, May, June. We were as high as 1,900 meals a day, and we were all down there cooking every day and bagging groceries and whatnot.
So you're a culinary expert then, huh?
Not really.
Okay.
They got me back upstairs quick.
Okay.
But yeah, Tammy Murphy came down.
Too much damage to soup and sandwiches now.
It was really fabulous to have her. And again, when our spirits were really low, it really picked us up.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly I've learned a lot about Oasis and the positive things that you are doing for Paterson and communities beyond. That phone number or email or any other point of contact, you want to recite that again?
Yeah, our website is www.oasisnj.org, and the phone number there is 973-881-8307.
So what do you do for fun? I mean, this is, huh?
Oh, I love to go to the Great Falls in Paterson.
Okay.
It's a fabulous, what a piece of history that we have there.
They've really done a lot in recent years with federal resources. Congressman Pasquarello, I know, has gone to bat for that, and they really, made it like a destination stop as far as the community is concerned. That might have a ripple effect as far as bringing tourists and people like that, to appreciate the history of Patterson, which is long and storied.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as that's concerned. So.
Yeah, and we're walking distance to the falls, so if you're visiting the falls, come visit Oasis too.
So if I want to go over and get a soup or a sandwich,
We'll make that happen.
okay, well, you're a good person as far as that is concerned. So it's with
Thank you.
that. So
Thank you.
and your wish list, going forth over the next year or so is what?
Yeah, we do need to close this capital campaign gap of $1 million. Like I said, we are under construction with a July date for finishing that construction. So, funding is always our #1 wish list. But there are some wish lists on our website, food for our food pantry, back to school supplies, and the likes of that. But
Okay, I hope our viewers have heard that, and I just want to take an opportunity to thank Jennifer Brady, the Executive Director of the Oasis. You heard about the tremendous work that they are doing in the community. She's something short of Mother Teresa, I guess, in our midst. But seriously, if you have any pressing issues that require my attention or any issues regarding current New Jersey legislation, you can reach out to me at my Assembly office at 973-779-3125, or else you can email me at asmgiblin@njleg.org. For additional information, you can go to my website at www.assemblymangiblin.com. Thanks for watching the Giblin Report, and remember, if it's an issue to you, it's an issue to me. Have a good day. Thank you.